But that's not what the folks obsess over. And today's show, by the way, was inspired by a comment on our YouTube channel this morning.
Oh, yes.
Where somebody asked, hey,
when someone's obsessed about something like that, it's too late. The problem's already underway. It's already an issue.
You know what I'm obsessed about, Linda Ray?
I'm obsessed with knowing what you're obsessed about.
I'm obsessed about you.
Creepy.
Hey, so I'm Trevor, and this is Linda Ray, and welcome to Simple Sense for Small Business. And today we're talking about obsession.
And not in a good way.
Not in a good way. But before we launch into that, I want to kind of give you all a little background on how it is that Linda and I record these little podcasts and how we came to be in business together. In the early of our days of our romance, when we would hang out at a lunch meeting or in the evening or whatever, we would get into these conversations about her business that she owned with a partner and the business I was in, that I was an employee, and observations about other business owners. And that's how we kind of realized a couple of things. Number one, that we both needed to end those careers and move on to new ones. And number two, that we could actually be in business together because we had a very similar mindset on a lot of basic business
goals and aspirations and methodologies of practices and standards and such.
And so what you're hearing here on Simple Sense for Small Business podcasts essentially is the kind of conversations that we used to and still do have about all kinds of things related to business.
Well, one of the things about what we do, and I know this is how our other EIDL consulting channel evolved, was two people who just, are doing stuff and learning stuff and sharing stuff and making mistakes about said stuff. We show up to these podcasts with an idea and then we kind of banter about with things we've seen, mistakes we've made, challenges we've overcome, and we're in this with you.
Yeah.
When
we say, when our tagline is, so you don't make the mistakes that we've made, I mean, we're living it just as you are. We're running a small business. We both come from much larger business backgrounds. We have a lot of masters in business administration by the seat of your pants.
Yes, seat of your pants university.
So we just want to give you that little backstory. So it doesn't mean we're obsessed with our backstory.
Some people joke, they're like, I'm obsessed with that new ice cream or something. And
I want to give Linda Ray a big compliment. Early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, as we started to assist small business owners with the Small Business Administration COVID-19 disaster financing, and we started doing marketing, Linda Ray came out very quickly, based on experiences with our clients. If there is no time to learn how to attend to the basics of your business like this time, I don't know what is. Because what she meant was, with COVID-19 closing down a lot of places on lockdown and all the other attendant problems trying to maintain your business during the pandemic, we saw time and again how business owners failed to attend to basics of their documents and operations and systems and marketing, etc.
Yes, but the true indication, the true validation was when they wanted to get the Economic Injury Disaster Loan from the SBA, the Small Business Administration. They found themselves in a pickle because it's like, wait, what's a P&L? Or I don't have an accountant because I did it myself.
Or that partner that I formed a business with 7 years ago hasn't been around for 7 years.
And
okay, well, why is his name still on the bank account and the corporate paperwork?
There have been a lot of moving parts to securing a business loan, even before COVID, even without SBA. Naturally, the business financing process is dense and complicated and has details about a business and how well they're doing or not.
Even if you weren't doing business financing, what we've discovered is there's just so many fundamental operational aspects and marketing aspects of businesses that folks just don't attend to. But you know what they obsess about? Stupid shit. Like their credit score.
Oh, God. Before we throw anyone under the bus just because they're obsessing about something that seems very unnecessary, what did I call it? A wasted worry.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, we want to understand, but for almost 3-4 years, we've been dealing with businesses and small business financing, and the things they worry about are not the things that will accomplish the goal that they want to accomplish.
No.
So therein lies the frustration with us to not understand this obsession. And by the way, the obsession with the example of the credit score, likely when someone's obsessed about something like that, it's too late. the problem's already underway. It's already an issue.
Having been a credit lender and now a broker, I have my different perspective on that is I find too many people are too obsessed with credit scores. You're all sucking up to the credit industry there. You're all falling for their propaganda and eating that up like the famous Kool-Aid. It's part of the credit industry's marketing campaign to get you to obsess about credit scores so they can sell you credit products and, more importantly, collect data about you that they then sell to marketing companies and corporations and so forth.
Well, when I owned an insurance agency, one of my quotes that I used in a lot of my marketing to sell life insurance especially, and insurance, is buy insurance when you don't need it, because when you need it, you can't get it. And one of the quotes I used was from JFK, which is, the time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining.
Bingo.
So the other quote too was, I think it was Soon Lee, where you do the tough stuff up front so that it's easy later when things get tough.
And that's what Linda meant when she said that people, during the COVID-19 pandemic, that now there's no other time like now to look at your basics of your business and get them all in order, get your house in order, and fix things that are broken. And
can I just fast forward to wealth and wellness? Because I would love to know, if you're obsessing about something, are you kind of doing a post-mortem of that wasted worry and that obsession? Are you really looking at why you're obsessing about it and what's your worst case scenario about that obsession? Because then maybe you can relax and not put so much life into it. Energy flows where attention goes.
I'm glad you brought up wealth and wellness earlier in our podcast today, because you're right. Are you really obsessing? Are you paying attention to those things that are causing you to obsess? And I'm going to say absolutely not. People do not obsess about the correct things. Mm-hmm. They obsess about things they have no control over, or things that are really not relevant.
I would love to understand, just from a psychology, understands this mentality and the pursuit of worry. Like, what is this about? And also, I think for you and me, we're problem solvers. By the way, another definition of self-esteem that I've learned is creating options for oneself. So instead of worrying about things you can't control, what about creating options, about solving a problem that is
things you can control?
Yeah, and the worry that you think you have no control over, what about
and this
what
is
you can do about it?
Another thing, again, complimenting you for the second time in today's podcast. I'm getting some brownie points. Of course, now I want a brownie. Linda, you have said this time and time again on our YouTube channel. Folks, control the things you can control. Stop obsessing about things you can't control. And what she was referencing specifically was what we have seen with the SBA and the EIDL process through the COVID-19 pandemic is that business owners have obsessed about, why isn't the SBA calling me back? Why does the SBA ask me for the same documents? I call the SBA every day. I check my SBA website portal every day. These are things that you're obsessed about that you have zero control over this.
Right.
But you know what you have control over? And this is what Linda used to say to people. You've got control over getting your paperwork ready so that when the SBA contacts you, not only do you have the paperwork at the ready, but you have filled it out correctly. You've got it all well put together so that when you get contact from the lender to ask you for that paperwork, you can send it in and then you really move forward. Because she came up with this idea because when people hire us to do their process, we see the disaster of their paperwork.
Yes.
And that's what we do at our company is we fix that so that we get them approved. But that's not what the folks obsess over. And today's show, by the way, was inspired by a comment on our YouTube channel this morning.
Oh, yes.
Where somebody asked, so when the EIDL repayments start in 2022, will it go on the personal credit report?
Who cares?
Why is that important to you?
If anything, it's a good thing because it's recent credit that's positive, assuming you're repaying your loan.
I want to show up at that person's business right now and I want to say, okay, listen, I want to see all your record keeping you've put together for the SBA audit that could be coming in the future. And by the way, as per your SBA loan agreement, you're required to send in within 180 days a resolution, copy of your hazard insurance. Do you have that ready? Did you review your insurance with your insurance agency to make sure it meets the SBA requirements? Next, you're also required to provide financial records at the end of every fiscal year.
Yeah.
You have that stuff ready for the SBA? Guaranteed, dollars to donuts, you do not. But you're obsessing about a payment on your credit report next year.
It's
for real people? Come on.
I'm obsessed with this obsession, honestly. And the other thing, too, instead of worrying about things that haven't even happened yet, so there's that foreboding joy, forecasting franticness, what about thinking about ways you can make money in your business?
Yeah, I have a great example of that. So I had a meeting yesterday with one of our clients. He's a restaurateur, charming, brilliant visionary, and he has 3 of the most magnificent fine dining restaurants here in Connecticut. And he's got wonderful people working for him that transmit his charm all the way through. So he's got a culture within his organization.
We hang out with them when we go there. It's great.
So we were working with him on financing stuff, and one of the things he said, we've got to get the bookkeeping in order so we can get profit and loss statement monthly, because I need to know if my staff is buying too much linen, if they're buying too much dishwashing
Or
soap,
too many candles.
compared to sales.
Doesn't
If
get dark until 9.
Because too many candles, because during the summertime, why do you need that many candles? Because it's lighter later. And likewise, if business is tipping downward during the winter months, do you need as much linen? Do you need as much dishwashing liquid? And I thought this was brilliant. And you see, this is a business owner who is obsessed with something
that he can
that
control.
helps him make more money.
Yes.
And be more profitable.
I mean, some of the questions I see about wasted worry about things that haven't happened yet, or things they need to happen when they need it to happen. Now, listen, I'm not trying to say that we're judging you, but
I'm definitely judging you.
But I think the thing is talk to hundreds of business owners every week. There's a direct correlation with the wasted worry and a lack of productivity and profitability. So,
to finish today's podcast, what are you obsessing about? Take a moment and look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I obsessing about the right things that help my business grow, maintain continuity, be profitable, earn me more income, and add pleasure to my life as opposed to adding misery to my life because I'm obsessed with wasted worry?
I'm Linda Ray.
I'm Trevor, and this is Simple Sense for Small Business.
Mistakes we've made so you don't have to. Till next time.